Hello, welcome to I Teach, I Learn. My name is Aishwarya and I love talking about children. In every video of mine, I've been giving out activities for your child to try out, and this video contains activities right at the end which are for your child if your child is between the age group of 6 to 9. Now, these activities are all about research methods that your child can use to research about any topic that he or she finds interesting. These activities sort of provide a framework using which he can actually delve deeper into anything that he wants to know more about. So why is research so important for a 6-year-old, and how can they go deeper into topics themselves? That's something we're going to work out in this video. When a child comes into the elementary environment from the primary environment, he knows how to read, he knows how to write, he knows basic arithmetic, he knows basic facts as well. He's trying to memorize now and slowly come to abstraction. Pretty easy, right, for a teacher then to say, okay, you're independent, you're able to choose your work, you can actually pick a book and read. That's unfortunately not the case. However, fortunately, Maria Montessori considers the entire universe as the syllabus that we should give to the elementary child. We need to present a wide curriculum which is not restricted to satisfy the curiosity, the imaginative reasoning mind that an elementary child has. For more information on the characteristics of a 6 to 12-year-old, please click here if you're on YouTube. Otherwise, scroll down in my Instagram. There's also something that you need to know, which is cosmic education, which was the basis of the entire Montessori philosophy as suggested by Dr. Maria Montessori. There's more information on that in this video as well. When you have such a wide curriculum, the universe in fact, you need to feed this child's curiosity, you need to whet his appetite, and you have to provide things at his reach so that he wants to learn more. I believe that more than memorization and repeating facts that are there in your textbook, a child's ability to want to learn is what education should kindle in them, because things are going to be pretty different when they grow up as well. But the ability to learn new things and the interest in learning new things should be cultivated from a very young age. So in the primary years, you would have given a child physical freedom. We say let them do things on their own physically, let them be independent. Now it is time to give the child mental freedom. The child should be able to take whatever he needs from the lessons that you suggest to him and choose what he wants to go in depth. Because when you go in depth into any part of a lesson, you somehow cycle back to all the other points in a lesson. For example, I'm talking about the sun and I'm giving them a lesson on the sun. And we sort of talk about how the particles rub over each other so fast enough to create energy. And there's one child in the class who says, "Auntie, is that friction? I've read that word somewhere." And then we talk about friction, and then another child says, "Auntie, that sounds a lot like fiction." And then we talk about fiction. So there should be a freedom for a child to move in depth into any part. And you can see the connections that a child makes very easily. From 5 to 12 years old, children make associations like that. For example, I remember I gave the picture series cards, to a child in my primary classroom. She was around 5.5. And when she was keeping them on the mat, she saw that there was a twig picture, there was a nest picture, there was a hand picture and a drum picture. So she has to pick out the letters from the alphabet box and keep them on the mat. But when she saw the picture, she stopped and she told me, "Auntie, a twig is used to make a nest and the hand plays the drum. Isn't that cool?" And I was like, yeah, that is. So that's how children associate concepts quite easily. This does not mean that when they dive into a lesson, it's a haphazard manner of learning. We provide the tools, we provide a library, we provide proper data which they can use to sort of further their learning. So there are many ways in which research is inculcated and encouraged in the elementary environment. For example, we have going out. Going out is where the children actually plan a visit all by themselves with just an adult chaperone to help them. But the visit is planned right from calling the museum or calling the zoo and finding out how much tickets are, and all this actually happens, and it's pretty interesting to see how children plan their trip. If possible, they even book the travel vehicle that they need and the adult just to sit near them and take them safely and bring them back. So that is what is going out, and they learn more when they go out of the classroom because the classroom is no longer enough for them. There's also coming in, where we have experts who come and talk to children about interesting things in their fields. It could be a scientist, it could be an astronomer, it could even be another teacher from another school, it could even be a parent who is working in a different field and wants to share. So coming in and going out is a huge part of elementary research work. Encourage your child to note down certain articles in the newspaper, cut them up, put it on a notice board, things like that. So make a repertoire of information. The last resort should be Google. I say this because don't give your child all the answers. What we say is measure your words in the elementary classroom. You should help only when necessary and sufficient. And this is true even for the toddlers or the primary or elementary. Help is given only when necessary and sufficient. When you help a child, when you come into their work and start doing it for them, the learning process is actually affected. Okay, so but when they struggle, when they find out something on their own, when they discover a concept for themselves, it becomes a part of their soul and they carry it and cherish it for life. For example, if they don't know a spelling for a word, introduce them to the dictionary, tell them how to use a dictionary and find out the spelling. Or if they find the spelling, let them write it down so they don't have to ask you again. So those are the things where you don't give all the answers, but give them the means to find out the answers. In pedagogy, in teaching methods, there's something called the guided discovery approach. This is when we give an example and let the child formulate the rules and the ideas. For example, when you see an experiment or when you see something new in math, imagine finding out the rules and the theorems and the reasons for why it is happening all by yourself, or even the grammar rules by yourself. When children are allowed to estimate the answers and when they are allowed to experiment with what they have around them, instead of you giving the answers to them, it makes the child themselves a very important stakeholder in the learning process. So let's put down the importance of research in a couple of bullet points. It helps them to explore into concepts much deeper. It helps them associate different subjects to what they are learning, which is cosmic education at its best. It improves their language, their writing skills, their reading and comprehension skills as well. It satiates their need for information, but at the same time, it fans their curiosity to know more. I remember when, after giving one beautiful lesson on the story of life, there was a child who wanted to know more about sharks. So I pulled out a book on sharks from the library. I showed him where it is and he was looking at the pictures. And then he was so surprised, and he was 6 and he didn't know how to put it in words, but he was like, "Auntie, how this picture is like, how did they do it? How did they take it underwater?" And that went into a completely different direction where we started talking about aqualungs. So that's the beauty of research. Another lovely example is a bat was hanging outside our classroom one day, outside our lower elementary classroom. It was hanging on a tree. It had settled there. It was sleeping the entire day. For 2 hours, the lower elementary classroom was in a buzz. All of them were at the window, and then they would come back and they would pull out the animal pouches, pull out the picture of the bat, and they wanted to write down and find out more about the bat. The entire day there were groups who were looking at books about mammals, talking to me about the bat, drawing pictures and writing about it. It was absolutely beautiful. When we came to a point in the book where it said bats can use echolocation to find their food, he said, "Isn't that something that ships and submarines do?" And I was like, mind blown. So that is the possibilities that can open up when your child is allowed to research rather than just stick to points in a book. Let them explore, let them have fun, and I hope the research activities that I've suggested help you in this process as well. So happy reading. Bye.